Avi, there's a lot of players in this league that have that feel for the game that you mentioned before.
Transition.
One of the players that really comes to mind for me first when thinking about just a feel, just knows where to be on the court, is JDub, aka Jalen Williams for the OKC Thunder, number 12 overall pick in the 22 draft steal. Honestly, from the, I mean, it took him a little bit of time, I think, in year one to kind of get his footing and become a starter. But I think it was game 20 or so where the
Yeah.
Thunder were like, okay, this guy needs to be playing 30 minutes a game plus. He's just going to amplify everyone else's strengths on this team. And here's why. Kind of like Murray, versatile defender. But he's not overtaxed as a defender. He has Giddy next to him. He has Shea next to him. He has Chet next to him, who we've talked about at length. So for him, his defensive role, yes, he does pick up some tough defensive assignments, but he doesn't have to do everything on the perimeter. 6'6" wing with a 7'2" wingspan. He uses every inch of it. He just knows how to just disrupt these players. And I mean, he has his strength down, a guy that can D up against some stronger players, stronger forwards, hold his own. And he also uses that on offense, I've noticed quite a bit. When we're talking about percentage of shooting fouls that are and ones, 25%. That's definitely above average, about 60th percentile when we're talking about that. When he's going to the rim, you'll see a lot of times during the game where full speed ahead, he just knows how to kind of get his body into a defender, still shield the ball, and have enough strength to finish through the contact, not be knocked off his path, get to the rim, finish for an and one, just finish shots at the rim just in general. So for him, that has happened along the path of becoming more of an offensive player. He has the ball in his hands a little bit more, 2.5 shots per game, more than last season. And the three-point percentage on the same attempts has been great. So last season, about three attempts per game last season, 35% on threes last season, 45% this season. So, I mean, we're talking about a guy that is knocked down. That makes no sense, man. Between him and Dort, both 40% shooters. And you wouldn't think players like that 40%. Like, you look at them and they're like, okay,
it's the Chip England effect.
Players. Yeah, like, it's just such a surprising trend to see. And that's one of the reasons why the Thunder are so lethal. Because a guy like him that can finish at that level, you can't leave him on the outside either. So it's almost like a pick your poison. Those pick your poison players are the ones that truly become good to great to elite players. There's no way to guard them really. Again, he knows where he is at his best. For Jalen Williams, only 21% of his shots are threes. That's way below average. He takes a lot of mids, he takes a lot of rim attempts, and he's hyper efficient. So his effective field goal percentage is almost 60%. So that's when we're talking about twos and threes combined, effective field goal percentage, hyper efficient guy. We talked about Cason Wallace last week. This is Cason Wallace on steroids. That's the kind of way I think about it. Higher usage, but just about as efficient as Cason Wallace. Just more minutes, more touches, more shots. So that's kind of like the story of JDub for this team.
More difficult shots.
Absolutely. More difficult shots. He's going against some of the team's better defenders on the opposite side. So all these things he does so well for the Thunder. He's a connector. He's an amplifier. And he's a big reason why the Thunder are already knocking on the door of contention. Because between him and Chet, they're perfectly balanced. Chet, dominant at the rim as a defender. Shea gets deflections. He's top of the league in deflections, top of the league in steals. He makes things happen at the point of attack. Jalen Williams, hey, I can kind of bounce between the two. Perimeter, paint, whatever I need to do on defense, I can do it. And I'm going to knock down shots at a high level. So across the board, draft steal, a guy like that number 12, you can't ask for more. And JDub, honestly, has become one of my favorite players to watch in the league because he does almost everything so well on the basketball court.
Fool me one time, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Watching Jalen Williams and then watching Brandon Pajemski both come from Santa Clara in back-to-back years. And
Santa
me
Clara,
watching
man.
them, I've watched a bunch of Santa Clara just because of those two. And because first of all, their advanced stats popped off even in college. So that made me a little curious. So I went to watch them. And both of them, excellent feel. I mean, these are guys who are capable of playing the two. capable of playing point, and in Jalen Williams' case, he basically plays as a wing. Sometimes I've seen him in lineups where he's playing the 5. Like, it's ridiculous what he can do. But
Yeah.
to watch both of them back to back and then watch my mindset where I'm watching them like, wow, their feel is incredible. How high is too high for them? And then backing out at the last minute because, against high level competition, I don't know what they'll look like. I've seen them a couple times. I don't know if they'll be able to get to the rim against the best guys. And just because of that one or two limitations, moving them down. In Brandon's case, just moving him off my list. And in Jalen's case, moving him down from 5 or 6 where I might have had him to 10 when I put my draft big board. I mean, he is exceptional. Like, he does everything well. He's basically a 3rd star. I almost gave him all-star consideration because there's not a single thing he does poorly right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's a slinky, smooth shot creator. When you watch him and then you watch Scoot, you feel the difference. He feels almost the same way Shea feels. Small opening, just squirts his way through. Oh, there's a drive, there's a layup.
Yep.
His game is excellent. He cuts well. He plays well off of Shea or whoever's the ball handler. He's an excellent driver. He goes into contact well. He generates contact, and he's an excellent free throw shooter. He has great footwork. He has a solid mid-range game. He passes the ball well, whether he's on ball or he's just the extra passer, and he reads the court excellently. Again, his 45% three-point shooting, I don't know how sustainable that is. I mean, Chip England is Chip England, but like 45% is still a little too much. But I mean, even then, I could see him finishing with like a 61% true shooting percentage, which, considering his volume and considering his usage, is actually really, really good for someone of his caliber.
Big time.
Defensively, OKC's roster is just filled with excellent defenders. So on that team, I wouldn't even say he's top 3 as a defender, maybe not even top 4, but that's more because of their roster. Defensively, extremely aware, and he's pretty good at creating deflections, and he has excellent timing. He's not foul prone either, which is a good indicator when you're a young player. It shows your feel defensively. It shows your ability to follow instructions, keep your ground, and not get pushed around too much. He can still be beaten with size and power or with a little bit with quickness, but only against elite guards. Otherwise, he's excellent. I'd put him even a level above Keegan Murray in terms of being able to cover guards.
Yeah, same here.
And his quick hands, man. I mean, in terms of deflections, he's averaging 4.4 deflections per 48 minutes, which I believe is 3rd right now in the league behind Dyson Daniels and Tari Eason. I mean, that's excellent company to keep because those guys are like havoc. They create havoc everywhere. I mean, they are havoc themselves. They are the chaos agents.
Yep.
So for you to be 3rd on that list, it's excellent. I almost consider him a 3rd star. And I think that there's a really strong case to be made that in the 2022 NBA draft, the OKC Thunder selected the 2 best players.
You know, I think there's a great case for that. When you think of both of these players being all-star caliber in year 1 and year 2.
Yeah.
Like, who else has done that recently? You know, like back-to-back years. That's really just, I mean, really the same draft, but, you know, one guy missed a year. But that's just incredible. I mean, that's just the OKC experience. Like, they just, almost every guy they drafted is just, they just work out. They just played the perfect role for that team. It's just a wonder how they keep doing that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what else to say about him other than that he's just a phenomenal player. He's probably one of the most balanced players in the league. You're just talking about what he brings to the table in every category. Like, just so impressive. So impressive that he's understood and picked up the game so quickly. And I also want to go back to the point about situation or circumstance. The organization of the Thunder and having a guy like Shea lead the charge, I think, has accelerated the growth of all these players. That's why Chet has been so great in his rookie year. That's why JDub was so good in his rookie year and even better right now. That's why all these guys fit in so well together. Is great coaching, great culture, you know, a great shooting coach, like across the board, just great personalities. So got to give credit to that as well. And it's a big reason why, I mean, the Thunder are ahead of schedule because their players are ahead of schedule. They're just figuring out how to do all this. So he does so much damage, man. He's just the epitome of efficiency.
They're so mature as a group. I mean, when I watch JDub, I could easily imagine maybe players on other teams saying, "Hey, I'm this good already. Why is my usage not higher? Why aren't I getting more chances to create on ball offense? Why can't I score more? Why do I have to defer so much to everybody else or play within the flow?" But because that entire team is all about us, it's not about me. It's the way they defend. It's the way they screen, top to bottom. The best players, the worst players on the roster, top to bottom. Everybody screens, everybody defends as hard as they can. There's no inkling of, oh, okay, now it's my time. I just got to be Mr. ISO man and, move my teammates to the side. They will go into ISOs, but those are setup ISOs. There's never let me just completely defer what the coach is saying and just go off on my own and just do something wild or crazy. Everyone plays the way they're supposed to, and he's the epitome of that. I mean, again, back to that drive stats. If you go to NBA.com, Paulo was first in drives per game. Jalen Williams is second. The difference, Paulo shot 40.8% on drives. Jalen Williams shoots 54.3%. We're talking like almost a
Big difference.
14% difference. And you can see it when you watch
Yep.
them. Jalen Williams, partially because of all the pressure and all the energy, defensive energy that Shea attracts, he plays off of that well. He'll stampede to the hoop as soon as he catches the ball. Honestly, it almost feels like it's even before he catches the ball. He's already making his way to the hoop. And then you see the explosiveness. You see him be able to do these Euro finishes. Watching him yesterday against Paul George, you see some of that. You almost feel like you're watching a younger version of Paul George, and they're almost competing against each other. Yesterday's game was phenomenal, by the way. Paul George clutched up, but
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the sort of upside we're talking about with JDub, and that's why it's so easy to be so excited about the Thunder, because you could make a case that your 3 stars, your 3-star model, it's right here, and very few teams in the league can say that we have this young, homegrown 3-star lineup that's already this good now, has a long runway, and has so many picks if we want to trade them.
Yeah. So many options, man. They're just perfectly set up for the present and the future.
Yeah.
Really hard to do.